辈。
I really respect Pastor Son all my life.
也是我效法一个最好的一个榜样。
And a great example for me to follow.
所以谢谢苏牧师能够给我这个机会在这边侍奉上帝。
I sincerely thank him for allowing me to serve the Lord here.
他在下面，我在上面就很紧张。
I'm really nervous when I'm standing up here while he's sitting down there.
那么有一个太太，每次跟丈夫吵架的时候呢，就关到厕所里面去。
There was a woman, whenever she argued with her husband, she would lock herself in the washroom.
久久不出来，很生气。
And she would sit there and be angry and will not come out for a long time.
有一次呢，丈夫就问太太
So one time the husband asked her,
你在里面做什么？
"What did you do while you were in the washroom?"
太太说我在刷马桶。
And she said, "Washing the toilet."
丈夫说哦，刷马桶也可以解气，那也不错。
So the husband replied, saying, "Well, it's good that you can let your anger go away while washing the toilet."
太太说我不知道，但是每次我都是用你的牙刷。
And she said, "I didn't know that every time I use your toothbrush to wash the water."
所以女人很聪明的。
So women are really intelligent.
你可以得罪所有的人，但是千万不要得罪太太。
So please don't do anything bad and make your wife angry.
今天这里有两个女人，一个马大、玛利亚，我们看看谁比较有智慧。
So today we'll be talking about two women, Mary and Martha, and see who is more intelligent.
今天要来思想上好福分的侍奉。
And now today I would like to reflect with you the most blessed service to our God.
请我们打开路加福音10章38到42节。
Luke chapter 10, verses 38 to 42.
这里耶稣来到一个村庄，就是伯大尼。
And Jesus came to a village, and that's Bethany.
马大就很热心的接待耶稣到家里来，
And Martha opened her home to Jesus.
很忙碌的预备耶稣住的地方，预备饭食。
And she was busy preparing dinner and preparing a place for Jesus to sit.
而玛利亚呢，坐在耶稣的脚前听到。
And Mary sat at the feet of Jesus to listen to him.
于是马大就请耶稣吩咐玛利亚来帮助他。
So Martha then asked Jesus and said, "Well, go and tell Mary to come at home."
但是耶稣却说，玛利亚已经选择那上好的福分。
But then Jesus replied, "Mary has chosen what is better."
所以我们常常以为这段圣经在讲上好的福分就是听道。
So oftentimes we thought that this special scripture tells us that the best, most blessed service is to listen to a message of God.
而不是那些琐碎的饭食啊、排桌椅、琐碎行政事务，像马大。
And not the other things that we must do, like lighting up the chairs, preparing dinner, like what Martha did.
所以就看重听道，不看重琐碎行政事务。
So we put importance in listening to the message and not on things that we have to do.
请问对不对啊？
Isn't that correct?
是不是这样的？
Is that the right way?
如果是这样的话，都来听到就好了，饭食都不用预备，不用吃饭。
So if that's correct, then we all come and listen to the message and we don't even need to eat.
事实上，每一个都很重要。
And in reality, both are important.
不管是听到也好，琐碎行政事务、饭食预备也好，都是上好的福分。
And whether it is listening to the message or doing all the details, duties, preparing meals, all are blessed service.
这里最重要的关键就是什么是上好的福分。
But what is most important is, can we answer the question, what is the most blessed service?
我们看41、42节，
And let's read verses 41 and 42.
耶稣说：“不可少的只有一件。”
And Jesus said, there's only one thing that is needed.
啊，英文翻译出来了，原文的意思就是只有一件事情是需要的。
And there's only one thing that is needed.
而玛利亚就选择那一件耶稣需要的事情去做，这就是上好的福分。
And Mary has chosen the one thing that is needed, and that is the most blessed service.
所以什么是上好福分呢？
So what is the most blessed service?
就是能够体贴耶稣的心，
And that is, you have to know the will of Jesus and work for Him.
知道耶稣的需要是什么。
And you have to know what Jesus needs.
那么就在那个时候做耶稣所需
appropriate time, do what is most needed by Jesus, and that's the most blessed service.
而这时候，耶稣呢，需要就是在他的脚前听他讲道。
And at that time, what Jesus needed most was to have Mary sit in front of his feet and listen to him preach.
好像夫妻吵架的很厉害，吵得面红耳赤的。
And just as when a couple was arguing and they were really mad at one another.
那么这时候，太太需要丈夫有长篇大论的道理吗？
At this time, would the wife needed long explanation and argument from the husband?
这时候太太需要的是什么？
What's the wife most needed thing at that time?
就是丈夫把太太抱起来吻她就对了。
And then it's the husband to embrace the wife and kiss her. That's what she needs.
所以这个时候，耶稣最需要的就是在他脚前听他讲道。
So at that time, what Jesus needed most was to have someone sit in front of his feet to listen to him.
而为什么这时候最需要的是在耶稣脚前听到呢？
And why would that be so at that time?
我们看这是什么时候？
And let us look at what time we're talking
请
about.
看9章的51节。
Let's turn our Bible to chapter 9, verse 51.
耶稣被接上升的日子将到，他就定义向耶路撒冷去。
At the time approached for him to be taken up to heaven, Jesus resolutely set out for Jerusalem.
哦，这是耶稣在北边加利利的工作已经做完了，准备要南下往耶路撒冷去，准备要上十字架受死了。
Jesus has finished his work in the northern part of the country, and he is now moving south and to be ready to be crucified.
所以38节来到这个村庄，乃是要往十字架受死的路途当中。
So, on verse 30 there, Jesus was on his way to be crucified.
所以这时候耶稣的心情，请问沉不沉重啊？
So, Jesus has a heart filled with burden
苦不苦啊？
and with sorrow.
好像如果你明天就要大学联考或是大陆的高考，你心情怎么样呢？
If you have to write the provincial exam tomorrow, how would you feel today?
明天你就要跟女朋友求婚，你的心情怎么样？
And tomorrow, if you're going to propose to your girlfriend, how would you feel today?
或者明天你就要看你的检查报告是不是 cancer， 你的心情如何？
And if you're going to read your health report to see whether you have cancer tomorrow, how would you feel today?
更严重的，明天你就要上手术台，有个很大的手术，你的心情又如何呢？
And more important, if you're to go into the operating theater to have a major surgery tomorrow, how would you feel
你
today?
会不会现在去大吃一顿啊？
Would you go and have a big meal?
不会的。
You won't do that.
所以我们看见耶稣心情很沉重的。
So we can see that Jesus' heart was burdened.
他进到这个村庄不是为了要大吃一顿。
He entered this particular village not to have a big meal.
那么如果你是耶稣的时候，请问耶稣这时候他最需要什么？
So if you were Jesus, I would like to ask you, what would you be needing most?
我相信耶稣一定很需要能够安静的休息。
I believe that Jesus would need at that time to rest quietly.
并且有人可以了解他，知道他即将要做什么事情，要上十字架，能够顺服听从耶稣来完成这个重要的使命。
And to have someone who would listen to him, who would understand his heart, that he has to get on the cross to be nailed, to accomplish the salvation for all of us.
所以这时候坐下来听耶稣说讲道是最需要的，阿们吗？
So at that time, what's most needed by Jesus is to have someone sit in front of his feet to listen to his preaching.
那么为什么马大他没有得着上好的福分呢？
Why did Martha not receive the most blessed service?
我们看见耶稣进入村庄，马大热情的接待耶稣，好不好？
So we saw that when Jesus entered the village, Martha was there receiving Jesus. Wasn't that good?
但是如果马大他就安安静静的为耶稣预备很好的地方，为耶稣预备很好的饭食，让耶稣可以安静休息，那么这肯定是一个很棒的上好的福分的事奉。
And had Martha decided to quietly make all the preparation, make the meals, and let Jesus to have time to quietly rest, I can rest assured you that that would also be the most blessed service.
但是马大的问题出在什么地方呢？
What was the problem in Martha's heart?
在40、41、42节。
And if we read verses 40 to 42, we would know that.
如果马大没有问耶稣这个事情，就没有下面这3节经文。
Had Martha not asked Jesus the question, then we would not have these verses of Scripture.
因为马大问了耶稣这个事情，所以显出马大的心态如何。
Because Martha asked the question that revealed Martha's attitude.
我们看第40节，
Verse 40.
马大问耶稣说：“你不在意吗？”
So Martha asked Jesus, Lord, don't you care?
请吩咐他来帮助我。
Tell her to come and help me.
你看这里马大的心态，请问是耶稣重要还是他重要？
So, looking at Martha's attitude, was she placing Jesus at a more important place or herself at a more important place?
你不在意吗？叫他来帮助我。
Don't you care, my Lord? Ask her to come and help.
所以马大认为他预备饭食是全天下最伟大、最重要的侍奉。
So Martha thought that preparation of meal was the most important thing on earth as a servant.
而耶稣怎么回答呢？
And what did Jesus say?
耶稣说：“玛利亚选择上好的福分是不能夺去。”
Jesus said, Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her.
耶稣说：“这个不能夺去呢，就是拒绝马大的要求。”
Jesus replies saying that it will not be taken away from her is a way of rejecting the request from Martha.
玛利亚的侍奉非常重要，所以她不能离开这里去帮助你，拒绝了马大。
Mary is doing a very important service here, and that's the reason why she cannot at this time come and help you.
那么，所以从耶稣这个回答，请问有没有责备马大的意思啊？
So, from Jesus' answer, was he rebuking Martha?
有没有？有。
Yes.
表示马大真的打扰了耶稣。
It shows that Martha indeed distracted Jesus.
不但打扰耶稣的安静，还破坏耶稣真正重要的侍奉，就是要告诉他们准备要上十字架受死的事情。
Not only distracted Jesus' rest, but also disturbed Jesus while he was about to tell everybody his word to go onto the cross for our salvation.
所以我们看见马大的问题就出在他以自我为中心。
So Martha's problem arose because she was self-centered.
不但破坏了耶稣的安静，也破坏耶稣重要的侍奉。
Distracted Jesus' rest and also disturbed Jesus' service.
以为自己预备饭食才是天大的事情。
Thought that the most important thing is to prepare a meal.
他自我中心，不晓得所有整个世界的轻重在哪里。
She was so self-centered that she lost sight of the priorities in the world.
好像有一个强盗被抓了，
Just like when a robber was caught
判了死刑，
and
死刑。
capital punishment.
那么要上刑台的时候，
And as he was to be killed,
看到那个强盗跪下来哀求那个刽子手。
and the robber knelt down and begged the one who is to execute him.
可是后来一听了，嘿，他不是求刽子手或是法官能够饶他一命。
But they listened carefully. He was not asking them to spare his life.
他说：“我的脖子这边有一个刀伤，发炎了，请你等一下下刀的时候不要砍到那个地方。”
He was just saying that I have an inflammation. I was hurting my neck, so when you cut my head off, don't cut at that place.
不知道轻重。
So he knew not the priority.
所以从这里我们看见马大跟玛利亚的侍奉。
So from here we can see the difference between the services of Mary and Martha.
首先我们看马大的侍奉。
So let us look at the service of Martha to the Lord.
马大的侍奉乃是心中没有耶稣。
Martha's service to the Lord was one that in her heart there was no Jesus.
我们看见有3方面。
We can see it from 3 perspectives.
第一个是一个无心的侍奉，
The first one is a service without her heart.
因为心中没有耶稣，就忽略了耶稣，
So in her heart there was no Jesus, so she forgot about Jesus.
变成一种习惯性的动作。
So it was just something that she would do habitually.
知道耶稣来了，哦，要招待耶稣之后，就习惯性的去预备这些饭食啊，这些地方。
So she knew that Jesus was coming, so as a habit, she would do all these things to make preparation for Jesus.
但是整个过程当中呢，心中没有耶稣。
But throughout the whole process, there was no Jesus in her heart.
这是无心的侍奉。
And that is a service without doing it with your heart.
好像每个礼拜天我们都知道要来崇拜，已经习惯性了。
So just like we would come to Sunday service as a habit every Sunday.
忙着赶时间、赶聚会、赶服侍，忙得一塌糊涂。
So we were busy to put in our service, and we were so busy.
但是人来了，心没有带来。
But we came physically, but our hearts not here.
忙了半天，空空的来，也空空的回去。
So we came empty-handed and left empty-handed.
这是无心的侍奉。
And that is a service without using your heart.
好像我在念高中的时候，
So
高中
when I was in high school,
有一天呢，老师还没有下课呢，突然铃声响，叮铃铃，下课声响了。
so before the teacher would finish what he was saying, the bell rang.
突然班长就站起来，起立。
So the head of the class would order all of us to stand up.
大家都愣在那里，因为老师还没有说下课嘛。
But we were all we were there wondering what was going to happen because the teacher's not said that the class is done.
班长不知道在想什么，只是习惯性的铃声响了就站起来起立。
But the head of the class habitually, when the bell rang, would then stand up.
好像上个月台湾发生的事情。
Just like what happened in Taiwan last month.
在彰化县呢，有10个国中、国小校长的交接典礼。
So there was a ceremony for the exchange of leadership in different schools.
有10个校长要退休。
There were 10 principals, school principals about to be retired.
那么由县长跟教育部的处长来监督整个交接典礼。
So officials from the city and from the Department of Education, they were there to witness the ceremony.
在典礼当中呢，县长们呢要宣誓。
And
不是，这校长们不是县长们。
and all the school principals, they have to take an oath.
那么宣誓里面有一句话，就是不要浪费公帑。
And there was one sentence in the oath saying that they will not waste public money.
这个不容易翻了。公帑就是国家的钱财。
And that is money belonging to the country.
但是在宣誓的时候，竟然有好几个校长很大声的宣誓，不要浪费公奴。
And a lot of the principals that were lovely,
努力的努。
yeah, making an oath saying that we are not going to waste all the work of the public.
公帑跟公奴不一样，努力是努力的努，帑是下面一个金，对不对？
So there are two different characters in Chinese.
他们又念得很大声，你要把握，不要浪费公奴。
So they were saying that we are not going to waste the public energy.
所以就闹笑话。
So that became a big joke.
他们要宣誓以前有没有给他们宣誓单啊？
So
有，
before that, they were actually given
但是没有预
the oath,
备。
but they were not prepared.
无心的侍奉。
So they were serving without using their heart.
好像台湾自从把国营的加油站呢变成民营加油站之后呢，竞争很激烈。
So when Taiwan privatized all the petroleum station, competition became very stiff.
哇，他们就增加很多服务来增加这个生意。
So all these service stations, they would put in a lot of services so that they would have more business.
有一部车开进来之后呢，立刻有3个工人立刻过来，很热心的帮他擦窗户啊，检查轮胎啊、胎压，这个检查这些东西啊。
So a car would come by to fill up, and 3 people would then rush in to try to clean the car and look at the tire.
那么之后呢，就收了10加仑的油钱，那么车就走了。
And then the car will leave.
哎，过一会儿之后呢，车子又开回来了。
After a while, the car will come back.
他说：“哦，谢谢你们很热心帮我擦窗户等等，但是你们有没有帮我加油啊？”
Thank you for all the services cleaning up my car, but you have not filled up my car.
他们3个开问了啊，对了，忘记加油。
So they said, oh yeah, we forgot to fill up your car with gas.
忙了半天，把耶稣忽略。
So they were busy all these days, but they forgot.
最重要的耶稣竟然忽略了，
The most important is Jesus, and she's forgotten.
这是无心的侍奉。
And that is to serve the Lord without using your heart.
第二呢，乃是自我中心的侍奉。
And the second part is, it is a service that is self-centered.
因为心中没有耶稣，不但是忽略了耶稣呢，也不在乎耶稣的需要是什么。
So, because